There are a lot of mysterious and strange places to discover in Crimson Desert. Places filled with ancient history and often eerie atmospheres. One such area is the Sunset Valley and subsequent reed field nearby. This place is haunted by hidden lore and a stench of death. In this video, I'm going to show you everything that I found and tell you about the looming curse gripping the landscape. You're going to want to stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to show you some very, very cool, scary and interesting stuff. Sunset Valley is located to the south of the map and is an isolated village of unwanted and afflicted people. Preceding the village itself is a huge field of reeds. It's a quite striking area, and there's not really anywhere else like it in the game. This is the location where we fight the devil in the reeds early on in the story. It serves as an almost samurai-like Kurosawa dueling location, and is just a very, very cool place to fight, isn't it? Come on. The reed field is genuinely massive and almost forcefully nestled into the top of this area called the Mountain of Frozen Souls. Yeah, that's not spooky at all. This will come up again later, so remember that name. It won't be the only place that triggers this, but every time I've been there, it automatically plays this very somber and ethereal song. Passing respectfully through the reeds, you enter a really mystical looking forest. The way the sun leaks through the trees in this game is always breathtaking, no matter how often I play it. Reaching the opposite side and heading towards the break in the trees, we're greeted with a distant vista of the isolated Sunset Valley village. Try saying that when you're drunk. A hamlet surrounded by thick forests and towering cliff faces, completely cut off from the rest of the world. Moving towards this place, you do feel kind of like a strange sense of apprehension, although the village reveals an actually pleasant looking community. Simple but nice looking houses. There's a river cutting directly through the middle of town, flower beds everywhere, and farming infrastructure. However, entering Sunset Valley, you can notice something is maybe slightly off with the townsfolk themselves. Clearly, you can see that these people must all love the Green Day song Basket Case and want to pay homage to it. They're all basically really ill. The baskets... What? Whoa! Fucking hell, I'm peeping Tom. Now, I couldn't find anything in Korean history about people wearing baskets when they're ill, but in Japanese history, some monks called I'm not going to do that accent. Why did I instantly go? Komuso wore, interestingly, reed baskets over their heads. This was a sign to show a lack of ego and a higher spiritual connection. So I can assume that the baskets in this game are made from the reeds in the nearby field and are probably for stopping the spread of germs. I think people were probably doing this back in COVID, if you remember that. Around the village, as well as the plague victims, there are numerous robed people seemingly helping the afflicted townsfolk. These people are healers and have come here to the village to obviously, heal the town. I don't actually know what the illness is that these people have, whether it's a plague or a multitude of different illnesses, but either way, it's a town full of lepers. The healers bear a striking red Michael Phelps picture on the back of their capes, and they also have various books and items adorned on them. Atop the nearby hill, there is a huge number of people lying, either ill or dead. Some of them look like they are in pain but alive, whilst others like these guys look like, when your mum calls you up for tea and you've got to leave your stormtroopers in the middle of the floor, mid-battle.
This isn't a place outsiders visit often. Like us, you must have come with good intentions. Folk here are in desperate need of aid.
If you agree to help the healer, then you have to go to a nearby field and grab satintail root. Cliff, look at him, he's absolutely buzzing about finding this one, but then, he gets a little bit too transfixed on it. Oi, we got a job to do. Giving the flowers to the healer, he states,
A world without sickness.
This is for you.
Wouldn't that be bad? I hope I didn't trouble you too much with such a request. In any case, you've spared us a great burden. We will all suffer a little less and sleep a bit easier now. So truly, you have my deepest thanks.
Round the corner from there, there's a little freak that runs around the windmill. And this is the murderer, Salvatore, wanted by the Henan authority. He stinks of piss and he's a prick. Now, before we move on to some really, really interesting and dark secrets, I want to show you something that I found back in Henan. Just outside the main city, you can find these children. And if that doesn't scare you enough already, they seem to be wearing what looks like Reed Devil masks. This is incredibly spooky and raises many questions like, why are they wearing these masks? Where the hell did they get them from? And why is nobody pointing this out? And then the final question I want to ask is, why the fuck is this taxman following me around?
Ah, yes. A newcomer.
Paul's broken at last, Paul's broken at last, he's broke today.
They don't really say anything too ominous, but the way that they act and the fact that they have these masks and nobody is alarmed by this makes me think that maybe they're all in on it and there's some kind of strange cult going on. Stay still, lad. It won't hurt, don't worry. Moving back to the Sunset Valley, there's a colossal waterfall sitting at the back of the village, bringing in water for the whole town. And I really thought this is a prime hidden chest location, but no, it's not. Ouch. So let's talk about the main point in this video and the creepiest part of this village. What's up with that house?
Oh, very strange place that.
Wait, who lives there?
Well, it's kind of a school shooter type, off-grid. There's not even any Wi-Fi inside. At least we all have Netflix. This guy sits on his own.
The house holds a very, very dark secret. Unassuming from the outside, but the inside is extremely creepy. Entering the house, we're greeted with this. A dimly lit room filled with the Reed Devil's masks and scarecrows. Either side of the room has shelves lined with the Reed Devil followers' masks, stacked one next to the other. The back of the room is dominated by a group of T-posing losers, also known as the Reed Devil Scarecrows. Underneath them lies lit candles in a weird kind of ritualistic way. This group of scarecrows is a really horrific sight to see, looking back at you from the other side of the room, especially when you first enter. It's very cult-like and honestly it gives me the creeps if I stay here too long. Just look at this. Sitting on the floor, just below the scarecrows, are a book and a mask. The mask is actually the Reed Devil's mask itself, and the book is called Tales of Sunset Valley. Reading the book reveals some really interesting but scary details. The first part reads, of the Reed Devils, there was once a shunned expanse of land where lepers were cast to rot, but more corpses came in on stretchers than there were ever sick men to fill them. Those whose deaths had remained unspoken, those slain in secret, and those silenced so they would tell no tales, were all thrown down here, tangled together in shallow, nameless graves. Then came the day a great stone fell from the heavens. Ever since, the reeds have grown thick and unnaturally lush over the burial ground. Faint, dying whispers ride the breeze among the stalks, and when the wind goes still, something else stirs within them. The second part features a depiction of a devil and reads, the grudges buried beneath the reeds gave rise to a wraith. It reaches for the living, hunting those whose hearts are eaten with hate. They say anyone who heeds its whispers as it drifts through the field will feel their soul hollowed out until, before they know it, they are no longer human. Born of malice and bound to the reeds, the demons wander without rest. Masked like lepers and denied all peace, they haunt forever the land that took them in the first place. And finally, the last part features a picture of a scarecrow with the Reed Devil behind, and it reads, just as common as a scarecrow stands over tender grain, the devil's straw men keep a watch over the tender minds. They appear as silent companions to the broken and the lost, but beware the turning of the tide. When a soul comes to believe the scarecrow's whispers, its only counsel, and when it feels the whole world has turned its back, only then do the possessed effigies begin to move. They rise as the devil's kin, coaxing their chosen towards vengeance and dragging them down into the depths of madness with them. So this book reveals that the field on top of the, again, mountain of frozen souls, probably named because of this, was a dumping ground for corpses of lepers, vagrants, and those who knew too much. A great stone fell from the sky one day, probably from the abyss, and made the reeds grow. However, it brought with it some kind of evil. The dead killed before their time conjured a wraith with their hate. A wraith that takes over bodies and souls of the lost and the afflicted. And in turn, the host then gains the power over the scarecrows and uses them as minions, which basically reveals the backstory of the Reed Devil boss, with him obviously being cast out from his family, disowned and left all alone in the reed fields, for the devil to take over. That's pretty fucking gnarly, man. Leaving the house, we can get this dialogue from the guy that was stood outside.
Whose house is this?
No one's. Who would live in such a resentful place?
I found a mask inside. Someone I know wore one just like it.
All of them were crafted by a nameless man. The masks, and all those scarecrows. Poor lad must have needed a friend.
Sorrow etched on every mask.
I understand how it feels, being outcast, shunned by all. I don't know if he turned against the world, or the world turned against him.
I do find it interesting that there's more parts of this building, but from the inside, there's just one room. Maybe there's a way to see the rest of it, a hidden walkway into the next part of the house or the upstairs. I don't know, I can't find anything. This whole house and story is unbelievably cool and creepy at the same time. Now, I did look in every other house around here and they're just normal. Normal houses, nothing to say. Moving on to something that you may have not have seen. There's a very hidden cave up on the cliffside surrounding the village. Climb up and look out for this ledge. Fly over, go near to the back wall, and you'll find this hole. Now, all things said, I think that this is not an intentional cave, and it's been left open by mistake by the devs. But either way, it's got some really strange and creepy stuff inside. Dropping down, you can find this. A great wall of what looks like bark towers across the whole cave system. This is quite a ways down, and it still goes from floor to ceiling. You can walk along it all the way down, and it's honestly somewhat mesmerizing here. The way the colors shift, the orange of my lamp mixed with the blues and greens of the cave light all the way down creates this really unique atmosphere. Something extremely odd is walking around here, you can actually occasionally hear the hissing of a snake. But every time I'd look around and try and find what was making the noise, there would be nothing there. That's absolutely terrifying. The scale of the wall is insane, but do I think this is some kind of ancient tree or a mystical wall of truth? I don't know. To me, it's probably a texture that they use behind the cliff face in multiple different locations. For whatever reason, they just missed covering that hole. But the fact that it's in Sunset Valley with all its creepiness, and the fact that you can hear that weird snake hissing all the time, I don't know, that makes me wonder. Now, the last thing that I wanted to mention was the fact that when I left Sunset Valley and entered the reed field again, I was greeted with this. Scarecrows had appeared all over the field. It really freaked me out. What the hell? Now, on closer inspection, you can see some stinking little feet underneath the reeds there, and some really nice sandals. These lot are clearly not interested in warding off crows, and they're here to give me a hard time. They aren't too hard to beat, to be honest, but the problem is they just keep spawning endlessly into the distance, hundreds and hundreds of them. It seems the devil wants his reed field back. And with that, that's the end of today's video. What do you think about Sunset Valley? Have you found anything else equally as interesting that I've missed? Please let me know. My God, I hit the mic. Please let me know. Let me know what you think of this Reed Devil mystery, the story behind Boss, or what possibly the thing could have fallen from the sky. What could that have been? There's still so many questions to answer about this area and in the game in general, but this is definitely one of the creepiest areas in the whole game. If you enjoyed the video, please like it and hype it. Hyping is so important to get my channel out there, as we're just still very small, but they help an immense amount. So if you could do that, if you feel like doing that, then please do. Consider subscribing as well if you enjoyed the content, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.